Hey guys, it's Marina with Artworthy Life, where I teach Christ-centered art journaling that gets you into God's Word every day. Happy Thursday! Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to day 20 of our October Doodle a Day Challenge. I am so glad that you all are here. Super excited to be on with you again because we are 20 days in. That means if you guys have been with us the whole time, you have implemented art into your daily life every day for 20 days. That's amazing, you guys. Give yourselves a pat on the back. But on top of that, you've also been in the Word of God every day because we've been reading through the Sermon on the Mount, which is such a great passage. If you have not read through it before, you definitely should. It's been wonderful going through that with you guys. So what I want to do is go ahead and get started on today's doodle. Now, we are going to be painting some gourds today. If you saw the tracer posted already, go ahead and give me a eyeball in the comments if you saw that tracer posted. Hello, made by Teddy, is it? I'm not sure how you say your name, but hello, thanks for watching on Instagram. And hello, Bonnie, good afternoon. I'm so glad you're on here. If you have not said hello already, go ahead and say hi and tell me where you're watching from so I can say hello to you back. All right, we're going to read a little bit more of the scriptures today. And that's going to be in chapter 7 of Matthew, continuing in the Sermon on the Mount. We're starting in verse 6, and we'll go until we'll go until verse 8. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For every one that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Isn't that encouraging? God is not someone who just ignores his children. He opens those doors when we knock, and that's just wonderful. He's not disinterested. It's really, really great. Alrighty, gonna go ahead and flip around Instagram. Hello, Pam, watching on Instagram so that you all can see what we're doing today. And we're gonna get started on this doodle. So here we go. Let me flip this so that they can see. And for those of you that are watching on Facebook, tell me how the lighting is today. Can you guys see pretty well? I'm gonna go ahead and try to tape this in place. You guys get to see my little rigged system over here. At some point, I will get a better system for my Instagram camera, but for now we will use what we've got, and for now that's going to be some blue tape. Hi Valerie, yes, here I am. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. Alrighty, I think that's pretty good for now, and I know Instagram always has trouble with it being like too low or something, so I'm going to try to move that down a bit. Okay, maybe that'll work today. Hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. Alrighty. Yes. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and trace this onto our watercolor paper. Now, let me show you the watercolor paper I have for today. I know some people ask what kind of paper I'm using. I don't always have a consistent kind, and I'm usually using scraps. But guess what? I used up all my scraps, so I can show you what paper I'm using today. I'm going to use this Strathmore watercolor paper. It says 400 series and 140 pounds. So I'm going to get one sheet off of that and cut this down to size. Valerie, are you following along today? Anyone who's following along today, hello, Bonnie on Instagram. Anyone who's following along and actually painting with us, put a paint palette in the comments, please. That way I know you're following. That's pretty cool. Okay, the measurement for our doodles, if you have not already heard, is 2.5 inches, and I just used my fingernail to mark it. Oh, Bonnie says her Facebook is acting strange today. How weird. Well, I actually think, for those of you that are on both, I actually think the Instagram image is clearer most of the time. So, hint, hint, if you want a clearer image, hop on over on Instagram. Okay, so 2.5 inches this way, 2.5 inches that way, and that makes it 2.5 inches square, and that's the size of our doodles every day. So just so you know what our measurement size is, and I don't know why this is always wanting to slide down, but it is. I'm going to try to fix that. like that. Maybe it'll stay pretty good. Okay, if you're watching on Instagram and the comments are in front of the image, just slide the comments out of the way with your finger. Valerie's following along. Yay, how fun. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and put this tracer. I've got mine on my big piece of paper because I didn't cut it down to size. But I'm just going to lay it over my square, put it right where I want it. I can see the paper underneath. And Twyla says, I'm just watching, but it looked good. I will not comment much because it shrinks my picture away. Okay. Well, thanks for that comment and for letting me know that you're watching. That's great. Okay. Now I'm going to use a mechanical pencil and trace this on. So those of you that have been following along know that I trace very lightly so that my image doesn't end up with really dark pencil lines, because even though the graphite paper erases, it's not like perfectly erasable. So if you trace it super dark, it's going to still show those lines a little bit. So I like to trace kind of light, and I love to use a mechanical pencil because it has a nice fine tip, but I can still see where I'm tracing because it leaves behind a line, and I can get the basic idea down before I start painting. All right, I just peeked under there, made sure it was traced, and it is, so we're good to go. All righty. Today again, oh, did I bring my water? I think it's up here. So just for those of you that don't know, we are doing a sale all over our house this week, and because of that, my stuff is everywhere. I don't know why. It's just, it's everywhere. Well, I mean, I do know why. It's everywhere. So my little art kit, I bundled it all up yesterday instead of leaving it out on the table. And so this morning I've been like, where is my stuff? You know how when you're organized, well, I don't know if this is the case for you. Do you know sometimes when you're organized, it's harder to find things? Well, I organized it all and I put it all in one place. And then I was like, where is my stuff? Because I've been leaving it out. And what it is, I just realized I left my watercolor cloth up here too. What it is it's all in my handy dandy caddy. And I know the people on Instagram can't see that, but I'm holding up my little caddy. And that's where my watercolor cloth went that I was looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Hi, Jackie. Thanks for watching today. How are you? You'll have to come out and shop since you're local. You have to come out to the house and come see what we have for sale. Got so much stuff for sale right now, so feel free to stop by. Okay. So I'm using my Como Heavy Mozart watercolor set, if you don't already know that. And my paint palette is right here. And we'll be using, if you have been following along, you know that we've been incorporating turquoise. And today is another turquoise day. So we're going to be incorporating some of these colors that are in these turquoise paintings right here, especially that pumpkin, of course. Here's another turquoise painting. Here's another one. So today is another turquoise day, and we will be incorporating those light teal blue colors. So actually, gourds are not that color, but since I wanted to use that color today, I'm going to kind of make it work. So we'll see how that goes. But just so you know, it won't be like perfectly realistic, which is fine. We can make it creatively different, can't we? That's like not a rule. So there are several different kinds of gourds, and you guys can tell me what they are because I don't know. But I did look up a chart, and I think some are called like, where was the chart that I looked at? So like the bigger ones, something called a buttercup and Hubbard winter melon, butternut, of course, butternut squash type things. Anyway, I don't know what I'm painting. I am painting whatever colors I needed for this painting. Valerie says realism is for cameras. You know, it's true. It's true. That's why we have cameras, right? Hi, Aunt Emmy. I'm so glad you're watching. How are you? We miss you. Maybe we'll be seeing you soon. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay. So the background of this first gourd thingy is going to incorporate some of the yellow golden color that we've been using. So I'm going to use a light, watered down orange and yellow, and that's Brilliant Yellow and number 10 orange. And that's what I'm going to use on this gourd right here. And I'm just going to let that be not a true yellow. If this was a real picture, it would be more of a yellow color. But I'm not going to paint it in yellow because that's going to look strange with the rest of mine. And I know it's already going to look strange because it's not going to be the colors of a real gourd, but we're not going to worry about that. Okay, so this is wet right now, and I'm going to add teal to it. This sounds really weird, I know, but I'm going to add teal, and it's going to be number 89 azurite blue mixed with a little bit of green, and hopefully that'll get us close to this color right there. That's what I used for this teal on this little pumpkin. So I'm going to water that color down quite a bit, and we'll just see if this painting is forgiving and lets me play with color. So we're going to go up the veins, not really veins, I don't really know what you call these. We're going to go up the side of the gourd with these little blue stripes. And up the next little stripey with it. And kind of along the bottom. And up this other stripe here. I don't want to cover up the little white spaces that I left. Those are kind of important. And I'm going to go all the way up the gourd like that. Okay, so basically getting those basic stripes down first, and then I'm going to switch to my smaller liner brush. This is my number 2 liner brush by Master's Touch. And I'm just going to do some freckles down here at the bottom, little dots and things. Coming up this little gourd. I'm not sure if I should probably let this dry just a little bit before I do more, but I'm just going to give some of that color to start with. And I'm really experimenting with this because I don't know how it's going to look yet. But there's so many unique colors that you can kind of play with these a lot. The next pumpkin thingy, this little thing right here, is going to be white. So I'm just going to pretend like white is light blue, and I'm going to grab some real light blue and paint this in just on the shading of it, like a super light blue color. So only on the curves. I'm going to put that in, and I might have to like paint the inside a little bit more. There we go, kind of like that. So I'm going to leave a little bit of highlights on the edges. Just kind of paint that in a super light blue. I know that's really light on your screen, but it actually is really light. So don't worry about that. It's going to be a light pumpkin color. Now with my teeniest brush, while that's a little bit wet, I'm going to take that blue, mix it with a little bit of brown, gray color. Mix that up so it's kind of a gray blue, and use that for a little bit of shading. Granted, I have my pencil lines, but if those get erased or whatever, I won't be able to see my pumpkin. So I'm going to be able to see that. So I'm kind of using that as my pencil line shapes. And then I can get a little bit more shading down in the little crevices and valleys and stuff here. And I can use a wet, clean brush to move that around. And I'm really just playing with this. So if you want to try some other colors, feel free. I'm just going, okay, how crazy can I go with color and it still look like a gourd, a vegetable. So I'm going to water down a gray because I noticed some of the pumpkin thingies have these freckle things that go up sides of them. So I'm just going to try to imitate those little freckles. And they're really dotted, like super spotted. Kind of like that. So I'm just going to kind of imitate those little freckles all the way down. And I'll let that dry and we'll work on the next one. So the next one is more of like that traditional shape. So it has a orange top. Let's see, where's the picture? Yeah, so it has like a yellowish orange top and almost like a watermelon looking bottom. Jackie says, is she on? Oh, yes, I'm on live now. Is that what you're asking? Maybe you're asking if I'm actually live. I can see you. Hey, good morning, Leslie Ann. Thanks for being on. So this last one back here is sort of watermelon colored at the bottom and then goes up into a yellow color. And it has this really stark transition. I'm going to make that less stark, but it is still, really, it's like a line almost. So I'm going to paint the bottom of it in with teal first. And I'm using my smallest brush. I probably should switch to my bigger brush. Let me grab that. Water this down and then paint that in. I'm using teal. The real thing is green. Just go with me on this. I'm using teal because I want to use teal. Okay. Truth be told, that's why. All right, so then there's like this little wavy edge here. And then where that wavy edge is, a yellow section starts. So we're going to make that section a different color, obviously. But I'm just going to let this teal dry first, because if I don't let it dry, we will end up with all these colors running together. So while this is wet, though, I'm going to do some shading. So I'm going to put some shading on the left-hand side. Just like when we did our plaid, we wanted the blues and things or the shading and stuff to be done before we did the pattern on top. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of gray brown to this and put a little more shading on the edges. I'm just dotting that in with the tip of my brush and letting the watercolor blend. And I can do that a little bit down in the area next to the pumpkin too, so that it stands out from that pumpkin in the background. Like that. And then a little along this edge as well. There we go. So just making that shading happen before everything dries. Like so. A little bit too much water on here, so I'm ending up with some white patches, but since these are such forgiving shapes, I don't think it's going to hurt it too much. Valerie says, can I cast a shadow? How about this? How about this? So we can see what I did to the pumpkin. Oh, because it is so light. Yes. Twyla says, I couldn't find the video on Instagram. I wanted to see if the video is different. Oh, yeah. So it's under Artworthy Life on Instagram as well. That's my Instagram thingy account. So hopefully you can find it there. I don't know if anybody who's on Instagram wants to share it to Twyla. Okay, I covered that for a little bit. I hope, Valerie, that helped somewhat. Let me know if that did. Alrighty, so I'm going to let that start to dry. That one needs to dry a little before I keep going. So I'm going to come back to this first. Oh, it didn't? How about this, Valerie? shadow like that. Maybe something like that. I hope so. Okay, and then I'm gonna brighten this gourd up a little bit on the right. So I'm gonna use that golden yellow again. Come down the front of the gourd, just do a few stripes down the front. So I'm just adding color now, like more layers of color. But of course, I don't want to just totally fill in. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I don't want to fill in that whole area because it's it already has some of that shading in it. So if I fill it all in, you won't be able to see where I've done that shading. Okay. And then I can use my brush and kind of pull that turquoise up a little bit into the gourd. And I'm going to switch to my smallest brush, grab my teal again. Oh, sorry, Valerie. Yeah, I hope that maybe on Instagram, if you watch it on Instagram, you might be able to see better. Okay, because the image sometimes shows up better there. Okay, now I'm adding darker teal and just coming up from the bottom mostly and up the side of the gourd. I think I'm going to come over here and just outline the edge of that pumpkin. Okay, so basically, if you are looking at a reference photo, I'm just filling in anywhere that there's green and making the gourd turquoise instead. So it's just to match my color scheme, and that's what I want, so that's what I'm going to do. These little lines that are coming up the sides are not perfect lines. Like they're kind of sketchy. They kind of move and have gaps in them and stuff. So I'm just being a little bit loose as I paint those in and getting progressively darker as I add those layers. I'm going to add a little bit of black to that. Turquoise. And now come in even darker and just give it some more shading and detail. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit around the stem here. Come down that gourd a little bit more. And I can also do some little freckles in the middle of the yellow, especially toward the bottom. Like that. And these little freckles I'll definitely have a little black in them because that'll make them show up darker. Be more pronounced. I'm going to add a little bit of stripes down the side like that. There we go. So that's getting right about where I want it. See, it's just kind of the idea of those colors without actually using the real colors that you would see in nature. I'm going to put a little black down here at the bottom where the, I don't know, where the base of that gourd would be. And then I'm going to use black to do its little stem. Some of the stem is going to be black. I'm just going to put a little black in there. I'm going to let that start to dry. And then on the golden areas of that, I'm going to brighten them up even more with some brilliant yellow and a little bit of orange. I'm just going to come in and carefully add some darker orange. I know I've already got some teal that's real dark in here, so I don't really want to like rub my brush along it and smear it, but I just want to brighten that orange up some more. See how that deepens that a little bit more and makes it richer in color. And then I'm going to take my smallest brush with some orange and brown and come along the left edge of this gourd and just outline it pretty well so that my eye can see that edge. And then coming up along this edge as well. And down the left side as well. That's just going to help finish that one off. Look how cute that is. Ah, I like it. I'm going to give it a little bit darker orange on that edge to create a shadow. And then a little bit kind of in the center of the yellow areas to give a little bit more interesting color. I like that a lot. I like it a lot. I know it's not a real color. I know it's not a real plant, but I still like it. Okay, so I'm going to do almost the same color scheme on this back one, but we're going to go a little bit more yellow with it. So I'm going to grab that brilliant yellow, water that down, add a little bit of yellow ochre to make it more tan, water that down, and we're going to put that as our base coat on the top of this one here. So just come down that way and follow along that blue line, fill that all in like that. Let me get a little bit more of that. And I'm going to make sure there's some shading kind of on the left-hand side underneath the neck here. And then maybe along the bottom here. Okay, I also want a little bit darker shading on the left-hand side to match the depth of the bottom. So like the bottom is pretty dark on its shading. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that rust color and just shade that in a little bit more so that it kind of matches what's going on over here, even though it's in another color. Let it smear a little. I guess I'll just let it smear. There we go. All right. So I just kind of brought some of that teal down with it. A little bit more, and I'm going to add some orange up underneath this neck again. Just a little bit darker, a little bit darker, a little bit darker. Adding some shading. So see how that gives that some shape? Okay, and then this white pumpkin up front is still super, super pale. So we need to work on that while the other one is drying. So let's see. I think to warm this up, I am going to go ahead and add some yellow to this white. It's like a white pumpkin that has almost no white in it. I'm going to add some yellow and just glaze it over the top of it. And just give it some more color. But I'm going to be real light with this because I don't want to smear all the dots and things I just did. Make sure my yellow is not too watery as I'm adding it. And I can kind of streak it through the white areas as well. Now look, see how that makes everything look a little bit more cohesive because everything now has teal, yellow, and white. And this will need to dry a little bit, but I can start adding my stripes to this one and then let this little pumpkin dry. So now I'm going to grab my teal again. I'm going to mix it up a little darker now. So this is, again, this is Azurite Blue number 89 mixed with Peak Green to make it more teal. And then I'm adding black to darken it up. It's a nice dark teal. And that's the color I'm going to use to create the little stripes along this little gourd. Valerie says, be right back, groceries just delivered. Yay! Okay, so we're going to do some little stripes along this gourd. I'm going to use my smaller brush. This is my smallest. And Leslie Ann told me this is called 10-aught, I think. So 10 over 0, however you say that. So she said she thinks it's called 10-aught because that's how they say it in ceramics, apparently. So learn something every day. Okay, we're going to come down this gourd and it curves. So we'll just follow that curve with a dark teal stripe like this. And we'll come down a little bit to the right. I need to make this stripe a little wider. Let me do that. There we go. So I'm basically dotting this in like ding, 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 ding with my hand. But the basic shape that I'm making is a stripe down the front of it. Then we'll make another one right here. So you can see I'm using dots to create that shape, not lines, because this gourd is really bumpy and I want to reflect that in the stripe that I'm painting. And we'll do another one here. And then one more down the side right here. Like that. So there's the little stripes. And then we will do the same thing on the top once that teal starts to dry. Oh, it's already drying. Okay, so we can do it now. So we will use a dark orangey yellow, which is the same color we had earlier, only darkened up a little bit. And I'm going to grab that color and we will go up the gourd with the orange, following where the teal stripes left off. So like that. And then this one will follow this stripe. And we'll go all the way up the neck of the gourd. And the stripes will get more and more narrow as they get toward the top. So see that little stripe? And here's the next one. And again, I'm still doing little dots because I don't really want to paint brush strokes. I just want little dots going all the way up, like that. And then this last one is going to be so far over that I can just kind of outline the edge of this neck and it'll be okay. Just outline it with a little bit of orange. And there we are. So there's our gourd, and I'm going to add a little bit of darker shading on this left-hand side because it's a little darker over there. So I'm going to add a little bit of red, which is that rust color. Just kind of dot that in for some darker shading on the left-hand side. There we go. Okay, there's the gourd in the background. Hi, Lydia. I'm so glad you're watching on YouTube. Thanks for being on today. And hope to see you on Monday in the Artworthy Journal Club if you're able to make it. That would be really fun. Our paint party is next week, so I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, so last but not least, we have this last little pumpkin, and it's white, but it's so light compared to everything else that we want to, brighten it up just a little to give it some more color, or give it some more something. Just make it show up more, that's all. So I'm going to grab I should grab my smaller brush. I'm going to grab our teal again and use that to shade in this little guy even more. And I'm using the teal just to pull in even more of that teal color, which I think is going to help. And I'm going to use that to do some little polka dots as well, since those little dots are looking really cute. And then I can do some darker teal right here to kind of fill that in. And then I want to go around the edge there so that that edge is nice and crisp. And I added a little bit of black into this to make it more gray colored so it's not so blue. And that kind of helps tone it down just a little bit. All right, so I'm giving that pumpkin some more freckles. Little freckles all the way up. And there's so many beautiful pumpkins. If you want to paint gourds or pumpkins or whatever for the fall season, just look up the colors. There's so many of them and they're beautiful. They're definitely fun and they're really, as you can tell, they're really flexible. You can go a lot of different ways with it and they'll still look good. So I would encourage you, especially if you're a beginner watercolorer, try out pumpkins and things because they're not as difficult as you might think. And they're very forgiving subjects. Okay, I'm adding just a little bit of gray shading down here at the bottom because the bottom of that pumpkin is going to be a little darker. And I know a lot of you mentioned that my little doodles are kind of floating in midair. And that's true. I haven't been putting shadows under things like as if it was sitting on a table or anything, just because as soon as I start to do that, I'll have to do that to all of them. And I'm not sure if I want to have to do that. So you can decide if they're sitting on a table or something, if you'd like to put some shading like underneath on the white area. But on most of mine for these doodles, I haven't been doing that just because I don't want to have to do that across all the doodles. And I'm all about my doodles being consistent. So if I start on one, I'll start on the rest. So as you can see, I'm just using a clean wet brush to kind of fade in that shading down at the bottom and bring it up a little bit. We're getting to where we're just about done. There's a few things I need to do to help these gourds kind of separate from each other. And one is I'm going to put some black on the background, kind of behind this pumpkin, and use that to create a shadow between it and the other two so that my eye can see that difference between those two. That'll help a little bit. And then I'm also going to do the same thing right here between these two. And use that to create a difference there. All right, and I think that's probably it. So I need to fill in the stem of my gourd. Whoops, ding. With some, I'm going to do some yellow on this one because there's so much teal around it. So just some light orange yellow there, and I'll do the same on this one. Fill in just a little bit of texture on that, like so. I also didn't do the stem on the other one, so I'll do that one as well. And that should finish these up. All right, and I can do a little bit more on this one here, like that. All right, so that is all. Oh, Valerie says, wow, a lot happened. Oh dear. Well, I hope you can watch the replay because we're just finishing up. Alrighty, that's everything we have for today for the little gourds on our teal theme here. And I hope you can see the consistency in color through all of these little paintings here. And that's our goal, to make these coordinate so we have a nice set by the time we're done. Alrighty, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone that you think would enjoy it, and stay tuned for tomorrow. We will be doing another really fun doodle, and it will go right along with the fall theme, and we'll coordinate with all of our woodsy colors. So stay tuned for that. I really enjoyed you guys being on today, so I hope to see you tomorrow. And in the meantime, God bless you. Enjoy your Thursday. Have a great day. Bye.